But this is a new frontier. It's brand new for me. The only thing that's the same is it's a process. And processes I'm really good at, and learning I'm really good at. And this is my focus for the rest of my life. And I want it to be fun. What I've been able to do in my business life is see something that everybody else sees and have a different thought. And I did that in business, and in my business world, I did that by helping to leverage the collective intelligence of a group and then develop from that collective intelligence business practices that in business we tended to put them into software to help automate processes and optimize businesses. And with Happy Living, I wanted to see, can we do the same thing, but not spend all my time and resources trying to help businesses, but rather try to focus on helping people. And that merged into book writing. So we launched the company in June of 2014. We published our first book, The Belief Roadmap, January of 16. We published the second book, Turn Inspiration into Action, April 2016. We used the first book to kind of learn the tricks of publishing. By the time we did the second book, we were starting to develop best practices. One of the things we love to do, and writing gives you the chance to do it, is repurpose content, right? So he had written a couple of plays, he performed, he's an actor, he's brilliant. And I said, Scott, let's take one of your plays and turn it into a book. It took me a little while, but finally we have The Greener the Grass, and that put Happy Living into the publishing category. Maybe the most fun thing is my dad turned 80 years old last October. All the while, before I even thought of Happy Living, he had found 4 boxes of love letters in his late aunt's estate, and he had been writing a love novel for 5 years. And by the time he finally confessed to me he was doing this, I had already started publishing books. He said, would you like to publish my book? So his grandson and his son and him had this beautiful collaboration of a love story. That's a wonderful book. What I've been trying to do is say, how can we utilize best practices and the collective intelligence of the market? And that, in that process, that's how we end up with, I think we'll go through some things that make publishing fun. The first thing that I wanted to talk about is something called a book publishing cooperative. Anybody ever heard of one of those? I think we might be the first. And I think it might be a huge thing. And it's based on this concept that anytime we're in a partnership, so Scott is joining me, he's going to let me publish his book, he's the author, I'm the publisher, bless you. We've just established a partnership. Now, if we can explore every single way that we can align our interests, so that what's good for Scott is good for me, and what's good for me is good for Scott, that's going to help our partnership be more successful. And so, and it's also based on, has anybody here run or established or been part of an LLC, limited liability company? Okay, and you know, so if it's an LLC, it's a partnership, so you have to have partners and you have shares in the business, right? And you can earn shares or you can buy shares or whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, when you make profits or losses, you distribute those profits and losses to the membership. So I thought, what if we ran our publishing house like an LLC? And instead of investing in the LLC, well, not instead of investing, but your investment is your book. So I wrote Belief Roadmap for my daughter. That gave me an investment in my LLC publishing company of so many shares every month in perpetuity. And when we started this process, only one book, it was all mine, so no problem. We put in our second book in April. So my first book already had 4 months worth of shares. Now I put in the second book, it starts building shares. And when we go to the third book. So then Scott comes in, no, my dad comes in. My dad comes in December of this year, so he gets 1 share in December of 16. But the other books have more shares, they've been contributing longer. And so it seemed to make sense. One of the beautiful reasons for, well, several things that are beautiful about it. First of all, we don't know which book and when it's going to take off, right? It might be this book, it might be Scott's book, it might be my dad's book, it might be your book that you let me publish at some point in time. But what I do know is all of the books are contributing. all of the books are adding excitement to happy living books. Every time we release a new one, it calls attention to all the previous ones. Every time Scott's out in the theater world and promoting his book, I want him also promoting happy living books, because he has a stake, a financial stake in it.
And he proposed it to me. He said, actually, your book goes into cooperative, and if that book makes money, you're buying a share. It's profit sharing, literally profit sharing.
So Scott can make money from his book without ever selling his book.
I mean, obviously,
So he makes
that's not the goal, but
No.
it was interesting.
The goal are all bestsellers.
But it was interesting. It was an interesting idea to me to be part of a cooperative. I'd never heard of it before. It's a self-publishing model that he's taken and actually created his own, become his own publisher using that. Once he kind of perfected that model for himself, he started, entertaining the idea of other books. And it's the great thing is I walk into a thing that's already rolling down the street. I'm not starting from scratch doing it myself.
That's the first part of the fun, because what we've done is we've created teamwork. We've created a team, and we're all aligned in promoting our books, because every time our books sell, it supports each of us financially.